everyone.
Hello.
I'm here with Lillian from HubCity Fibers. We're so excited to chat today.
Yeah, definitely.
And she is a local dyer here to New Jersey. We are sitting in central New Jersey in New Brunswick. And just really excited to chat a little bit about what you do.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
Let's take it away. So we've got some amazing things here that she's dyed. So why don't you just tell us a little bit about you as a knitter, as a dyer, and your company?
Yeah, definitely. So I started dyeing here in New Brunswick, New Jersey. I actually started dyeing while I was attending Rutgers University, which plays a little bit on my logo and what it represents, and it has a lot of history. So HubCity is also another term for what New Brunswick is known for, as well as a logo that I did do like a little woolen crown, which represents the area as well, because this area was originally referred to as Old Queens. So I drew that up in a class that I should have been paying attention.
Isn't that always the case?
Yeah. And
those little doodles paid off.
So like I was a college student and I was knitting a lot, and all these merinos and cashmeres is something that I really wanted to kind of knit with, but because of finances, being a student,
yes,
I couldn't really afford to purchase these expensive yarns. So I decided, what's a good way for me to kind of knit with these yarns without going completely hungry.
Yeah.
And I was like, let me get into dyeing. And so that's kind of what I started doing. I started dyeing.
I love that you found your own solution to
exactly, yeah. And then I started doing that more and more, and I started to kind of fantasize watching podcasts about knitters and other dyers and saying, that's so cool, I wish I could do that.
Right.
And
you can. And guys, this stuff is amazing. I wish you could feel it. They are so squishy, and they have just such a wonderful feel, and the colors are stunning. But yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Thank you so much for saying that.
I have a couple favorites over here. I love this one. I'll just show this. So this looks like, this is called potpourri. You can see the colors there. It is a beautiful, beautiful combination of these deep pinks, and it's actually some nice dark blue in here. So this is just absolutely stunning. I would love to knit with this. What weight is this?
This is a bulky.
Okay.
It's a bulky weight, so it's really good to kind of knit up a really fast hat, or even if you wanted to add that to a never fading. I actually have some kits available.
Oh, do you?
You can make a shawl with 3 of those. Like
wow, that's
fading,
awesome. And it's
100% superwash merino.
Yeah, so I was just gonna say, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where can people see your yarn and buy it? Are you online?
Yeah, no. So I do have an Etsy shop. You can find me on www.hubcityfibers.com, as well as I'm very active on Instagram.
Yeah, you should definitely check her out. So yeah, are you stocked in any stores?
I am stocked in Chelsea Yarns in Red Bank, New Jersey.
That's in Red Bank, yeah.
And then I think that's pretty much it for right now, yeah.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, I do a lot of trunk shows, so I go out and I try to, meet new people and meet new people in the community, especially in New Jersey. Like, I really like to travel. I just recently had a trunk show in Pennsylvania, which is not too far from here. It's about an hour away in Doylestown, so that was a lot of fun, meeting new people.
What shop is that?
Forever Yarns.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's right smack in the middle of Doylestown, so it was a lot of fun. Really great place. So if you have like a spouse and you're in the area, you can have them go walk around and you could do your yarn shopping.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, fun. Terrific. All right, so I think let's talk a little bit about your background.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, how'd you get into this? What aside from obviously what inspired you to do this, which you've touched on.
Yeah, so I actually learned to knit and crochet in my local library back at home where I grew up.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
How fun, like a class?
No,
or did you just sit in the library?
Every day after school, both my parents worked, so every day after school I would actually go to the library in my hometown, and I would just kind of fool around. And one day one of the librarians kind of just approached me and said, we're starting a crochet and knitting club, and you're welcome to come.
That's great.
And so I said, yeah, why not? Yeah. Like, I just decided to go. I was always drawn to the fiber arts. I did a little bit of it when I was in elementary school. We learned how to weave on paper plates. Yeah. So
I remember that.
Yeah. So I was always drawn to that, like art class and all of that. So I decided to go. Mind you, I was like the second youngest person was maybe in their early 60s.
So how old were you again?
I was maybe like 13.
Oh, wow.
Like, I was young. Like, I was, like, in middle school.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, yeah, the first thing I did was learn how to crochet.
Okay.
And then I learned how to knit. And then I kind of didn't really do any, like, you know, I did, like, a blanket, and I became obsessed with it a little bit, but as I went into high school and college, like, in the beginning, I didn't really knit or crochet as often as I do now.
Right.
Fast forward to now.
Yeah.
I decided I lived in an apartment complex in New Brunswick my senior year, and there was a woman that I had met that she's a good friend of mine. She lived downstairs, and actually she was a huge knitter.
Oh.
And so, you know, we had gotten to speaking when I was throwing out like garbage, and she for whatever reason, you know, was talking about how she's a huge knitter, and I started hanging out with her a lot.
Oh, cool.
And then she started to show me how to kind of do techniques like, you know, knitting in the
Doing
rounds.
different things, yeah.
You know, all the, you know, knitting with merino, knitting with different types of fibers, and like learning to dye fiber.
Okay.
So
was she doing that? Was she dyeing?
She was dyeing as a hobby, and she really showed me, like, you know, how,
like, showed you the ropes for it?
Yeah, kind of. She did. She showed me how to dye fiber, and mostly fiber, because fiber is much cheaper than yarn.
Right.
And at that time, I did a lot of research on, you know, where I can find a supplier for these empty yarns. So like she didn't really know too much about that. She knew a lot about like raw fiber. So
and like what, roving?
Yeah, like roving, and like I did a lot of spinning with her, and we would always, you know.
Do you like spinning?
Yeah, I like to spin. I spin on a drop spindle.
I've never done it. I love the idea of it, but I've never done it.
It's definitely a lot of fun. I do want to get more into spinning. Like, I want to get an electric eel.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. And but I'm gonna save that for retirement. Probably. I'm just gonna probably stick to.
Is that anytime soon, retirement?
No. So, you know.
Don't we wish it was?
Yeah. So maybe it'll come by a little bit. I am experimenting with fibers. I just actually bought some fibers to dye.
Really?
And that should be coming in the mail soon. So I'm really excited.
And then you'll
about
spin
that.
them, or you're gonna leave them?
No, I think I'm gonna just put them up for sale. We'll see. Maybe spin a little bit. We'll see.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
so it's been a while.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. So, inspiration for this. I mean, I'm just staring at these colors, just really beautiful. Where do you kind of get your inspiration for this?
So I am the type of knitter that likes to knit for garments. So like for hats and for scarves and for shawls and things that I wear. So a lot of the things that the inspiration I get for these colors comes from a lot of the aesthetics from the stores that I like to shop at, believe it or not. So
like, what's an example of that? What do you think?
So, for example, like, I really like Anthropologie. Like, I love the aesthetic that Anthropologie brings.
Yeah.
And like, I'll go and check their websites out and see what colors are coming out in the next seasons.
What's trending? Sure.
Yeah, what's trending, and then kind of see if I could dye those colors and kind of incorporate them in a hat or a shawl or something like that.
I like that idea.
Yeah. I also just like to experiment with color as well.
Okay.
So like, I'll just like to throw dye in a pot, and I'll record my process of, you know, what
much,
colors, what order, how much water, how much vinegar, citric acid that I use. And then if I like the way that it comes out, then I will repeat it.
You can repeat the process.
Exactly.
Right, naturally. Now this one actually is beautiful, just to showcase this one for
Pineapple
a second.
salsa.
Is that what I was just going to look at the name? I love the name. Do you just have fun with the names?
Yeah, I do. I do have a lot of fun with the names.
Salsa. So this actually has some beautiful tones, just to see there, of yellows with deep pinks, light pinks, and there's actually some speckles of other colors in here, some blues, which are just beautiful.
Yeah, you'll see speckles of this like darker magenta color and like little bits and pieces of that blue. It won't.
It's beautiful. Oh, it's 400 yards. Is it sock weight?
Yeah, this is a sock weight. This is good to use for shawls. It doesn't have nylon, so I wouldn't recommend knitting socks. You can, but that nylon kind of gives it that structure.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you kind of touched a little bit on about how you record, you know, your process for different colors, but you just have fun with it.
I do, yeah.
What does your operation look like? Are you...
I dye in my kitchen.
I love it. I love that. So do you just kind of dedicate a day where you have to, because you have to set up things for it, right?
Right.
Or do you have it all out?
No, I do have to set up. So what I usually do is I'll clean my entire kitchen, so I can't have any food or pots and pans in the sink. I try to clean the sink up. I clean the stove up because I use the stove. I use the technique of immersion dyeing.
Oh, cool.
So, you know, I clean that whole area. I lay out some newspaper or some brown paper bags.
Okay.
I put my dyes and like my tools out,
Yeah.
and then I have the pot right there.
Awesome. So immersion dye, is that, what other ways are there? Is that, just because I don't know very much about this.
So you could do immersion dyeing, which is like in a pot, which is I feel like what most people do.
Okay.
Or you could do kind of like in those like sheet pans. People do sheet pans, or you could do in the microwave. You could do
You're kidding.
in the sun. Like there's just so many different ways.
I think I would say probably just from looking around on Instagram, the people that I see dyeing are usually just like, it's like a photo of them dipping it into a bucket of some kind.
Exactly.
Is that immersion? Is that what you're doing?
Yes.
Or you do it a little differently?
Yeah. So I do immersion dyeing, and then there's different techniques that you can do with immersion dyeing. So you could start off with the whole yarn in the pot, or you can start off with half the skein in the pot and then work the other side later. It just depending on the colorways that you want to do. There's just so many different techniques.
And how do you handle drying? Or hanging it to dry, or how does that
So
work?
I live in a really small 1-bedroom apartment, you know, and
I'd imagine that must be tough.
and I have 2 cats,
Oh,
so
okay.
it's just
So
like,
yeah.
so what I usually do is I'll wash the yarn in my bathroom,
Okay.
in the tub, and then what I do with that then is I have this dry spinner in my kitchen, so I'll wring it out. I used to have to manually wring out the water.
Wow.
I don't do that anymore because
Right.
obviously my hands would get so pruny.
I'm sure.
So
and it's got to be tough.
Oh yeah,
Because
definitely.
they would, you know,
and it takes forever to dry if you wring it out by hand, you know. So, I put it in like a dry spinner. I was able to get that on Craigslist. Someone was selling it in the area, so that was awesome. And so then I do that, and then I hang it in my bathroom, and I try to put some lavender seeds so it can kind of absorb that smell of whatever I used to dye it. Yeah. So. And then, I just let it dry. It takes about a day.
I was just going to ask, how long does it take?
About a day, yeah.
That's not too bad, I guess.
No.
As long as you've taken your shower in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
The bathroom's free.
And what I usually do is when I'm actively dyeing, I'll start in the bathroom and it'll dry because I have a lot of sun coming in through that window.
That's nice. That really helps then.
And then I take that yarn and I move it to where I have all my stash. So it just dangles and hangs.
Got it. Now, do you have to worry about the sun when it comes to dyeing?
No, not at all.
No, it's really
I use acid-based dyes, so really you're not really going to get a color shift from being out in the sun, especially if it's only for a day.
Yes, I love it. This is so fun. Making me want to try my hand at doing it for fun. I think that would be...
Yeah, I mean, if you definitely want to try it, I know that there's a lot of... So it's really good for beginners who don't have like a wholesale account to try knit picks. I really recommend if you want to try.
They have that bear, it's like
the bear yarns.
I saw the bear yarn.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
and
very cool.
And also like going on webs and looking up like bear yarns, natural yarns, definitely trying
that's a good
out.
idea.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. All right, so I would say if you could just speak to some of the things about owning a business, you know, being an independent yarn dyer, what are some of the things that you like or don't like? Or maybe what are some of the struggles and triumphs, or more appropriately named?
So I guess I'll start off with the bad.
Okay. Yeah, no, please.
I mean, being an independent yarn dyer is definitely something that isn't new. Like, I'm not the first to do it. There's it's definitely a saturated market. There is a lot of people that
you think it's
without a doubt. Yeah, there's a lot of people that do this, and that could be something that could be a little bit discouraging for people that are first starting to get into it.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit discouraging my first 2 years of actually doing this, but I think the best part about this is that you are creating something that isn't influenced by pretty much anything, and as long as you're not obsessing over what your competitors are doing or what other independent dyers are doing.
That's a good point. And I just to interject, I think that we're so connected on social media platforms that it's easy or almost impossible to escape what is your competition doing. So that's a really good point. You have to kind of shut that out in order to...
I think it's essential because you become so obsessed, like, oh, this person's pictures are so much better than mine, or this person's going out to more yarn festivals than me, or this person's doing this and I'm not doing it. And you kind of look at like your sales and you kind of get down on yourself because you think that other people are doing better. But as long as you're doing what you love and you're putting that energy out there, I think that's something that attracts people into purchasing stuff.
And I think that there are, personally, I'm seeing more of a movement just in my own, my own circle of people who knit, that they're not buying from big companies as much as they're looking for people like you.
Yeah, definitely.
And just kind of something that, just to kind of say, like, I would love that if I was to knit this up, like 3 of these in a kit, no one is going to have this color.
Right.
This is your color, And it's, you know, I don't know, I just feel like it's not just a pink shawl, you know, it's a combination of colors that you've put together, that you've designed.
Right.
And it's a little, you know, it's a little bit more unique than just general. I mean, don't misunderstand me. I love general colors as well, but I like that these are
It's a
unique
little special,
to you.
yeah, exactly. It's like if you want to make something special for, you know, your mom, or you want to make
Right.
something special for yourself and kind of treat yourself,
Yeah.
and kind of just get something that's homemade. There's something nice about that,
Absolutely,
you know.
yeah.
And like, yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. Like, I mean, yeah, I get a little discouraged, but honestly, I'm kind of moving away from those feelings of discouragement and just saying, you know, like, I'm doing something.
Because you're doing something awesome.
Yeah, I know. So it's a lot
very,
of fun.
very cool.
And honestly, when I see people tag me on Instagram and
Yeah.
they like made a hat, and
Right.
it's just like kind of so crazy to me to think that, oh wow, that yarn started in my kitchen.
Right. Yes.
In one
yes,
pot, because I
yeah.
dye one at a time.
Oh,
I
you do
don't
small batch. I love
I
that.
do very small batch. So every skein is dyed one at a time.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is even cooler.
Yep.
Very fun.
Well, like, I mean, I know a lot of people usually have like multiple pots to kind of create more volume per hour.
Right.
But honestly, I started out in this pot. I haven't changed my
And you're
equipment,
just-
and I'm just gonna keep it like that
Yeah.
for as long as I can. I like
Right,
being
right.
kind of like a smaller production,
Yeah.
because I do, you know, I do work full time, and
Right.
And-
You're balancing this with your otherwise very busy life.
Yeah.
But you're still managing to devote time to this creativity and this endeavor. It's awesome.
yeah, no, it's a lot. It's
a
of
balancing
fun.
act,
It's
though.
it's so much fun, yeah.
Right.
And then like meeting people that do the exact same thing as you do, and kind of seeing how
Yeah.
like connecting with people that do this. Like I was just hanging out with Cat Sandwich Fibers.
Oh.
And
Cool.
she's based in New Jersey too, and like we went to some fiber festival in Pennsylvania, and it was just so fun to hang out with her and see her
Yeah.
process, and her showing me her studio and what she does.
Okay.
I thought that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And
You're
yeah.
kind of sharing that process. Because it
Yeah.
is so unique, because we're all, you know, we're coming at it from this creative place, you know. So it's
Right.
definitely going to vary tremendously. That's so cool.
Yeah, and I also, you know, like I'm probably the only person in my personal life of friends that knits. And
Oh, is that
like,
so?
yeah, I am
Oh,
actually.
wow.
So it's like to them, like I don't know if this is true. Maybe I'm just fabricating this, but like sometimes when I'm like, you know, picking up my bag of knitting and I'm knitting, like
Yeah.
I think like, oh, do they think I'm like a little weird for doing that or anything like that? But now I just don't care. So it's just like whatever.
No, yesterday I was at a local, we had a green fair in my town, and it got kind of quiet. There weren't a lot of people around, so I just took out my knitting bag and I just started knitting a couple rows. I'm trying to finish up a project that I'm working on. So,
Right.
and then I was like surprised at how many people stop and stare at you.
Yeah, definitely.
And then, you know, there are those feelings like, oh, do they think I'm, you know, trying to show, like, you know, be an exhibitionist of some kind, and that's not the case. But I am genuinely surprised by the number of people that will come up and say, "Oh, I knit a row once."
Oh, yeah.
You know, "Oh, I forgot all about knitting." You know,
I actually
it really
see
starts
people-
a lot of conversation.
No, it definitely does. I mean, I go to like my local coffee shop here in Highland Park,
Mm-hmm.
and like I saw people like I used to work there, so like me going there and
Yeah.
knitting is like a little bit weird for me, just because
'Cause
like
you know.
I know some people.
Right.
Not that I don't feel comfortable. I do feel comfortable, but it's just like I'm a little hesitant.
Right.
But then I like will see a group of girls like knitting. In the
Oh, you're
corner,
kidding.
And I'm just like,
Do you go up and introduce yourself?
no,
or do you
actually, no, I don't, because I'm like,
You
so
should. You
shy.
should
I
bring
know.
these skeins, ladies. I do this.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, like I'm definitely
but I
starting to
get
see
it.
it more.
Yeah.
I'm definitely starting to see it
Yes,
more.
I
a lot
love
more.
when you just see random people out.
Yeah, I'm just like,
I know. We've got something in common. It's like a secret society
Yeah.
of knitters and crocheters. Awesome. So, works in progress. Do you have anything on the needles? How much time, actually kind of leads me into another question. How much time do you not get to spend knitting?
When I'm dyeing?
Because you're dyeing,
I
right? Do you
knit-
have to decide?
sometimes if I'm meeting a deadline or if I'm prepping for a trunk show, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a, I'm knitting less and dyeing more.
I mean, it makes
I
sense.
knit every day. I mean, I'm not knitting as much as I want, obviously, because
Right.
obviously there's not
There's
not
time
enough
is
time in
limited.
it, yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I knit every single day at least for
That's
for
great.
at least 30 minutes minimum.
Right. So when you're getting ready for a trunk show, do you have yarn at home that's like kind of ready to go, or do you don't dye on order, or do you?
No, I don't actually. I don't usually dye on order. I usually put
That
up.
must be stressful. I can't imagine that's.
Yeah, no, I actually like it. It's on my terms, you know.
Okay.
Like, so what I do is I'll dye up and I'll try to have at least 100 skeins in the shop at a time.
Wow.
50 to 100 skeins.
Wow.
There's so many different bases. So like I have a DK base, I have a chunky base, I have a singles base. I have like 4.
Right. I guess when you break it up by the bases, it's just
I usually have around 10 to 20 skeins of each base, depending on what's kind of like what people are. Like, so for example, in the fall, people tend to gravitate towards DK weight, and in the summertime, you'll see more people gravitating towards fingering and
that's logical.
and stuff like that.
Yeah. So getting ready for the trunk show, like that you went to one yesterday.
Yeah.
So do you just kind of take all of your stuff to go, or do you have to do things separately for?
I am taking everything that I have plus like new stuff that I haven't put out in the market. So like if I have a trunk show prepared, I'll have some stuff that I'll have in my shop, as well as I'll dye up like maybe 30 plus, 40 plus skeins more for that trunk show.
Oh wow.
And I usually try to do kind of like an exclusive colorway with that yarn shop, just so that it's something special that you can only
bespoke.
get.
Can we just show this bag, please?
Yeah.
It's Alice in Wonderland, which is just super fun, and
I love this bag.
And I love the illustration of it. It's just really cool.
It's a bucket bag too, so it's just like so convenient. You can close it.
Oh, fun.
And then you can open it.
And it looks like it's deceptively large, which is great because you said you're doing
like
the
this.
sweater, right?
Yeah, this
so
is
it fits
I have
in
a
there.
sweater in here.
Cool.
And so this is my swag, and this is a pattern by Boylan Knits.
Oh my gosh, this is beautiful.
I'm sure you all have heard of this.
Love Boylan Knits, and I love seeing all of the swags on Instagram right now. They're so fun.
So
these colors are beautiful.
So I'm actually using my Indulge base, which is a merino nylon cashmere. So this is my Grains of Paradise color.
Fun name.
Yeah, and then I'm also using this colorway right here, this pink. And this is my Orgasm colorway.
Fun. But look at all those pinks in there, and that little touch of yellow. That is beautiful. Actually, I'd like to show this one a little bit closer. Make sure that back enough. This is just beautiful. Look at how those colors are knitting up. Hopefully the sun can catch some of that pink. That is beautiful.
Thank you.
You are doing a lovely job.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And this pattern is fun.
Yeah,
I
think it's a very well written
the top of the yoke. Yeah, that's awesome. So how long have you been working on this?
Probably a month. It's been on and off. I honestly am working on 2 sweaters at a time.
You
so
are?
when I'm like getting frustrated with this one, I'll move to another one. Yeah. And apparently it's the year of the sweater, so.
I know, I heard that. So do you typically, are you somebody who likes to like normally diligently work at one project, or do you like to have a couple things and swap?
Depends on like my mood, honestly. I like to have a couple things going just because I do get kind of bored with doing the same thing over and over again. Like so, for example, I like to always have a socks on the needles.
Yeah.
And the most dreadful part.
Yeah, it's a great distraction.
Oh yeah. and like the most dreadful part of a sock for me is the heel.
Oh.
So like as soon as I get to the heel, I'll usually cast on the second or leg.
Okay. Yeah. And then you work it from there. Yeah. I know, I love the heel. I love the,
you do?
It's so funny. I feel like that's when it becomes three-dimensional. Like it comes alive. And I just love like, oh, you're a sock, you know. Until then, it's just going around and around and around until that heel, and then it just is so magical. I don't know. I like that part. But yeah, I like having a couple things going because I like not, you know, focusing on just one thing for too long. But how long do sweaters typically take you, more or less?
So most of the sweaters that I've knit have been out of heavier weight yarn. So my first one was made out of worsted, and my second one was made out of DK.
Okay.
These are my first fingering weights
and these go
sweaters.
slower.
And they go a little bit slower, but honestly, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
You know. It's summertime now, so it's not like I'm in a rush to finish it.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
For the summer. I'll probably take some pictures on the beach when I'm done.
Very nice. Well, a lovely colorway.
Thank you
really,
so much.
really pretty. And I like it with the gray. No, that's awesome.
Yeah, cool.
Great. I know, this has been terrific. It's been
it's
really,
been so
really
much
nice
fun,
to meet you.
meeting you.
This is awesome. I'm both in New Jersey, so it was just a quick drive over here. So I'm really glad that we were able to connect. And I love that I can buy your yarn and you're just dyeing it right here in New Brunswick. I think that's super cool. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.
Have a great day.